What's up, everybody?
Welcome back to Mile Higher Podcast, episode 157. And today we are doing something that we're going to start calling a Pondercast. We've done many of these over the years, and we have changed the name almost every time we have done these.
Yeah, they all have different titles and series names. You can't decide on one.
It's really bad. It's like, what was it? Strange Phenomena.
We did like probably 3 parts, maybe 4 parts of Unexplained Phenomena.
We started with Ponder Sesh.
Yeah, but then we have like Ponder Potluck and
we did have Potluck. Yep,
Ponder
that was
Sesh.
one time.
So
but
now
Janelle finally came up with the best name.
I was going to say, give me credit where credit's due.
Yeah,
Come on.
for sure. You get the credit here, definitely. She came up with Pondercast.
I don't know.
Good
I feel
shit.
like it kind of vibes.
It vibes for
Not
sure.
too long.
I'm into it.
That's just a great title to kind of summarize everything. Because like today we just have a bunch of different super interesting topics that we're going to be covering that are all kind of too short to really do a full episode on. So we were just like, oh, let's kind of put these all together, and that way there's a nice variety of different things. We've got an unexplained phenomenon. We've got some really mysterious places we're going to be talking about, and then we also have some mile higher news we're going to be covering today.
Higher
news. Jeez, I can't keep track of all these.
We're
things.
trying to keep names.
Higher news.
I like having names for things.
Higher
It
news.
just give me satisfaction
with Kendall and Josh.
That's what you need. You need to make like an actual news segment I can enter in and post. Be like,
yeah, we should put Joel on that. He should make us a little like breaking news.
Okay,
that would be good.
Okay.
I feel that. And then you guys can tweet us with hashtag higher news if there are stories that you want to see us cover on the show.
Because we've kind of been talking just amongst ourselves about, kind of the format of the show. And for a very long time, we would do these, we would call them intro topics most of the time, which is just cringe, honestly. But
it's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. But
it's not that creative. But
yeah, it's just like, and well, the main thing too is like a lot of you like to just jump right into, especially if we're covering a true crime case. I understand how it can be kind of like, I came here for the case, but yet here you guys are talking about UFOs, aliens, and the mummies that were uncovered in Egypt before getting into like a serious true crime case. And it's not for everybody, or the majority of people, I think.
And we've played around with this a few times. We tried to put it at the end of the show at one point, and people didn't like that. Some people are very attached to the show in the original format that we started with, but we ultimately made the decision to not have them on certain episodes when it's important. The topic is so big that it should be the main focus, because oftentimes we're talking about really serious cases that are huge and they should be the main focus. And when we have other topics before, then it kind of gets lost in it sometimes, or people won't watch because they want to know about that specific case. And I totally get as a viewer how the majority of people find it kind of annoying. But then we also know that a ton of our fans who have been watching since the beginning like our intro topic. So they're not going away. You're just not going to see them every single episode.
Right.
When there is higher news that's actually interesting, that we don't feel like we're just scraping the internet.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like there's not something crazy that happens every week.
No.
So we're like, okay, what's going to be in the intro topics? We're like, I guess this. Yeah. There's only, sometimes we're like, there's only so much we can say.
And I'd rather give that time to the cases that we're covering, in the beginning. So it's good for us. Hopefully you guys are cool with that. But we do have some good higher news today. These are really interesting topics too. Yeah,
definitely worthwhile talking about. So we're going to go ahead and get into those things. But I also wanted to say that this episode is brought to you by Upstart, ExpressVPN, Care of, and Imperfect Foods, as well as Function of Beauty.
Also, just a reminder, we are having our 420 sale for Higher Love Wellness this week from April 20th, 420 to 422. We are doing 20% off site-wide, which is very exciting. If you've been wanting to try out our products, now is the time.
Or if you just want to stock up.
Yeah.
Now's the time. And for those of you that may not have checked out Higher Love Wellness yet, or don't really know what CBD is or hemp and all that good stuff, there's tons of information on our website. But we're actually going to be one of our higher news topics today is revolving around hemp and cannabis, and we'll talk a little bit more about kind of the specifics behind it. But all of our products right now that are consumables do not have any THC in it. I think the number one question that we get is this going to cause me to fail a drug test? Because many of you live in states where cannabis isn't yet legalized, so you're worried about possibly, or you work in some type of industry where you're drug tested frequently, or just randomly out of the blue, With our products, you do not need to worry about failing a drug test because there is no THC in any of them except for the topical, which can't actually, have any effect on your drug test whatsoever. So that's the good thing about it. And
all our lab results are on our website as well if you want to look at them yourself and verify that.
Also, we offer a wide range of products, everything from a topical salve to delicious gummies to CBD wax, which you don't really find that too often out there. And we're very proud of our CBD wax because it's really, really good stuff. I mean, it's super effective for consuming CBD because you literally feel the effects pretty much instantly with it. And you consume that with our terp pen or dab pen, which there's more information about that on our website.
I'm obsessed with that thing. I love it so much.
Yeah, it really, really works well. So
super convenient.
Yeah, I was going to say it's really convenient.
You could literally carry it around with you in your purse with the wax.
Right. And right now we still aren't able to do the vape pens right now. So this is a great alternative to the vape pen because it kind of functions a lot like it, which is cool. It's portable. You can take it anywhere you need to go.
Yeah.
And it's compact, fits in your purse, your pocket. So definitely check it out though. higherlovewellness.com. Again, there'll be 20% off from April 20th to April 22nd. We also are we're doing a little 420 merch drop as well this year.
Yeah.
But it's really, we kind of focus more on accessories this year.
Accessories this year. Accessories, yes.
Because I don't know, we kind of just wanted to try some different types of products out.
Yes.
And so we've got some cool stuff that I think you guys are
I was going to bring
like.
the grinders down and show them, but I left them in the kitchen. Dang it. But they're cool. Put them on the screen. They look really good this year. I'm really happy with how they turned out. We have some new designs and a completely new color palette for them that we've never done before. So yeah, it's really cool.
So that will be dropping on 420 as well.
And then we also have a design, a really unique design, very cool, made by an artist. His name is Bowie. He is one of our subscribers to the podcast, and he made us this design. We kind of gave him the concept, and he made it so cool. So we're really excited about that. Those are going to be available on our website. That is milehighermerch.com on 420.
Yep. All right. So our first higher news topic for today is regarding new UFO footage that has been leaked and kind of surfaced on the internet. And this is very interesting because this is all going back to, if you guys remember, there is basically an investigation going on with the Pentagon where they have to basically compile all of the UFO evidence that they have, in their possession. And they have to write this report up that includes all this evidence that, what they've been studying in this Pentagon program they had going for a number of years. And all of this has to be presented to Congress. And this is due in June. So in June, there's going to be probably a whole release of a bunch of different pictures and video clips.
You think they'll release it in June as well?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to end up being it's going to go public for everybody of what this Pentagon program was doing, the AATIP program, the Advanced Aerial Threat Identification Program is what that stands for. So two individuals, or really one individual, Jeremy Corbell, he is a documentary filmmaker. He actually did that Bob Lazar and Area 51 documentary. He's done one on Skinwalker Ranch. He just kind of makes a lot of documentaries about this subject. Him and another guy named George Knapp, who we've talked about on the show before. He's a kind of a legendary investigative reporter out of Las Vegas. They had this footage leaked to them that shows it looks like a triangular UFO that they're saying is basically a pyramid UFO in this clip. And this comes back from 2019, and this was captured by U.S. Navy members off the coast of L.A., actually, that spotted these pyramid-shaped UFOs.
They kind of look like Doritos flying through
the sky.
Do.
Yeah, Holy shit.
So the clip that you're watching right now is the clip that was taken by these U.S. Navy members at night. So these are night vision goggles or camera that they're looking at this UFO through, and you can clearly see that it's a triangular shape. Definitely looks like a three-dimensional pyramid flying through the sky. So on the flip side, there's been a lot of skeptics that are saying, oh, this is just an airplane, and that an airplane at night looks like this. But you can clearly see that the whole entire thing is illuminated. It's flashing like an airplane would. If you look at an airplane in the night sky, it's kind of got the flashing lights on it. But we've all seen airplanes in the sky, and they don't move like this either. See how it's
I
like
see how what
moving
they're
at
trying to say with the blinking of it, and that's kind of the same pattern that airplanes normally blink in, but
and then you
can
see
see the clear lines on it. You
Right.
can see the edges, like it's clearly a triangle.
It's a Dorito.
Yep. It looks perfectly symmetric.
And it sounds like, there's a little bit more information around this, that it's actually pyramid in shape. It looks like a triangle shaped craft, but it's actually a pyramid. That more information that was leaked about this is that these are pyramid shaped UFOs.
Wow.
So literally
you just can't tell from the video, but
there's nothing that we know of that's made by humans on this planet that is this type of pyramid shape that moves and flies in this type of way.
Well, it definitely makes you think back to, just the whole theory of pyramids and aliens, that connection, is there something to that shape?
Clearly there is.
Seems like it.
And, it pops up everywhere. People think there's pyramids on Mars. This pyramid shape.
All over the earth.
Yeah. Well, it's because the way that energy flows through a pyramid. If you look at the way that many people theorize that the pyramids were used for, channeling electromagnetic energy, and the way that it kind of goes up through it like that and out the point is very interesting. So it would make sense that if there was some type of advanced species out there or extraterrestrial race, that they would take advantage of this in order to pilot themselves around.
That's incredible, thinking about a pyramid flying through space.
I know, right?
Like, how big is it?
It's pretty big. That's pretty big. It's up there. But what's even makes this more exciting is that the Pentagon has confirmed that this leaked footage, because everybody's trying to debunk it right now. That's what happens in the UFO community.
Yeah.
Somebody breaks this cool footage that they say is authentic, and then everybody tries to go and debunk it.
Well, it's good. It's good method, right?
Right.
Try to figure out what's real and what's not.
You got to do that though.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, is that a Pentagon spokesperson said that they can confirm that the reference photos, which we'll look at these photos here in a sec, and videos were taken by Navy personnel. And as we said before, to maintain operations security and to avoid disclosing information that may be useful to potential adversaries, the Department of Defense does not discuss publicly the details of either the observations or the examinations of reported incursions into our training ranges or designated airspace. So they've identified all of these as UAPs, which is the new term. UFO is kind of not even the term anymore. They're calling it unidentified aerial phenomena,
right?
UAP. But
UFO is so much more fun.
I know. But the Pentagon confirmed that footage is legit from Navy members that captured it. And then these photos are taken by F-18 pilots, I believe. So pilots flying these fighter jets through the air at very
happen to see these things.
Yeah, and take a look at some of these pictures. So this they're calling the sphere, and if you kind of zoom in on it, you can kind of see how it almost looks like some sort of trans-dimensional object to me.
Yeah, it really does.
The way that
it's
it doesn't,
a giant bubble.
Right? It doesn't look like it's a solid. Really, it looks almost like it's like a cloud, like a sphere-shaped cloud or something.
But it's so hard to tell from down here, and especially from pictures.
Yeah. This next picture is of what they're calling the Acorn UFO. So this is just pilots that are flying around in the fighter jets, and they're noticing these things up in the sky while they're flying at insane speeds and altitude. And these are just hanging out up there, cruising around. Now, the thing with one of these, I believe, is this type of Acorn UFO, I believe, actually goes down into the water. So there's been a lot of reports of UAPs seen by Navy members where they're tracking it through the sky, and then all of a sudden these things will just dive into the ocean. Like,
I didn't know that about the Acorn
one.
Dude,
what the fuck? Aliens could have a literal base in the ocean that we don't even know about.
Holy shit. They probably do.
That's so crazy.
So
we've explored such a small amount of the ocean. They probably do.
Well, if they're able to think about it, it makes sense if they're able
it's like the best place to go.
Yeah,
seriously.
Because they would have the technology and capability to create a base down there.
Yeah.
And create this like artificial gravity and pressure down there that they could live in.
Yeah, if they're space traveling,
they could live under the ocean.
Absolutely. Who knows how advanced they are?
But the amount of UFOs seen going into the ocean and then re-emerging out of the ocean, or being just objects being pulled out of the ocean, is actually kind of crazy. And that's going to be kind of I think the big reveal with the reports is that not only are we seeing unidentified, aerial phenomena in the sky, but people on ships, submarines are tracking unidentifiable objects that are cruising around under the sea.
I've heard of this type of stuff. Like people have sent me articles about that or like pictures or TikToks or whatever. But, you know, you never know with those types of things, what if they're actually true. But now to have this confirmed by the Pentagon.
Yeah, basically they've confirmed that all these photos that Jeremy Corbell leaked and George Knapp leaked are all authentic images that were captured by military personnel.
It's very cool. Wow.
So, I mean, the implications of this are huge. I think so often I think, well, you know, if there's these aliens or whatever they are piloting these craft all over in the skies, where are they going, you know, when they're done checking out what they're doing here? Like, where do they go? Is there a mothership they're like flying back to? Are they just, you know, going back into the fifth dimension and then traveling that way out of our sight where we can't see them? Or are some of these going down to a base that is on our planet? It's just under the ocean where none of us can see it. They know where to hide.
Yeah.
And the best place to hide would be at the bottom of the ocean.
Definitely. That would definitely be the best place to hide.
Because we've only been down there a few times. Like,
yeah, and we don't invest much in our technology to explore the ocean more, and we're very careless about our oceans. It would be, yeah, that's when you think about it, it's like if they have come to Earth, they've got some type of base.
It's either on the moon,
if that's
or
true.
It's under the sea. But it would make sense for if they wanted to observe us on a daily basis, that it would be here.
It sounds crazy, but yeah. It makes total sense.
Well, what I don't get is why haven't we done like we've Google mapped the entire surface of the planet, satellite imaged it, but why can't we image the bottom of the ocean?
That's so true.
Why isn't there like an you know, Google Maps ocean view where you can just get snapshots of the entire ocean floor and you can see all the coral? Like, how cool would that be?
You think that'd be a worthwhile thing to invest in?
Yeah.
Why don't they have that?
I mean, if we're so worried about saving this planet, the oceans, there's that whole new Netflix called Seaspiracy.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that.
And that's basically, if the ocean dies, we all die. Is pretty much the premise of it. And why are we so focused on going off planet already, and yet our own planet's in jeopardy, and the ocean specifically is in dire need of, you know, help, and you know, the people on the planet to do something about it, yet we're seemingly ignoring it. We're not why go to space when we haven't explored the entire space of our planet? That's I guess what I'm getting at. Doesn't make any sense.
I know a lot of people bring that up, and I think a lot of the reason that we don't look more into the ocean is because it's a good hiding space, possibly. You know, like I think there is a lot of secrets to the ocean people don't realize. You know?
And there's probably, I mean, a lot of people believe there's government facilities like off the coasts of, you know, different like California.
What was the name of that one base? Damn, it's
we've talked about it a long time ago. It's the base off of the coast of California, where people were looking on Google Maps and they saw this like kind of anomaly under the ocean, and it turns out to be just kind of like a giant shelf of rock.
Okay, so it's called Location, spelled Lowe-Cation. It's about 6 miles off the coast of Malibu's Point Dume in California.
And somebody on, you know, Google Earth noticed that it looks like an artificial structure under the ocean. It's got this huge flat top, but what's interesting, if you kind of dial in a little bit more, you can see what looks like pillars kind of holding up the structure.
Yeah, when you look at it.
Obviously, it's most likely just a, you know, shelf of rock.
Maybe, but it could be built into, because, well, what's also interesting about it is that there are tons of sightings across that coast in Malibu of UFOs and there's reports of them going underwater, but people never knew if that is verifiable. And now these reports make that more likely as well.
Right. Well, I mean, the
Let's
clips
go down there.
The clips we were just
scuba dive down there. Figure it out.
I know. I'm sure somebody has
I'll
already.
hire team investigates.
We're the ones to fucking figure it out.
Dude, we could get a Netflix series.
Josh's biggest fear is like sharks. He ain't going around there.
I can't even go deeper than 10 feet without my ears like bleeding.
Yeah, I was going to say, my head would pop before I even got close to that.
Well, maybe we'll send one of you out there. Any scuba divers in the audience? Because we need to figure this out. This is very interesting to me. Did you know the structure is also called Sycamore Knoll? It's believed to be 2.5 miles to 3 miles wide. I mean, that's big.
Plenty of room for a bunch of craft to be stored.
Definitely. You can actually see it for yourself on Google Earth, which is cool. So we'll put the coordinates below if you want to look at it. But
yeah, I mean, maybe there's some correlation between this unidentified structure off the coast of Malibu and some of these sightings and U.S. Navy members seeing UFOs flying down into the water. And they've gone and tried to actually recover some of these. But when they go and search for wreckage, as you would expect to find from something crashing into the water at high speed, there's nothing.
Nope.
It's
they're
just
gone,
seemingly
bitch.
disappeared.
They went and parked in their underground lab.
Their underground garage. God, what if there was just like a whole alien civilization under there
literally could
living with us and we had no idea? Maybe they've been there the entire time, for all we know. There could be some, Atlantis is down there and just has the whole civilization going still. There's just so many. I mean, I'm very excited about the future and I'm excited to see what comes out in June with this report because I think we're just getting so much closer to finding out, kind of everything that at least the government knows about the UFO subject. And of course, there's people out there that are like, oh, don't believe what they're going to tell you.
I don't think we're getting close to knowing everything.
No, not everything.
We're getting close to knowing more.
Knowing more, at least about what, our own government has seen, because, if there's anybody that's seen shit, it's our own military, it's our own government. So at least being able to see a glimpse into what they know is going to only confirm, I think, for people, the reality that we're not alone.
Connect a lot of dots
and
with all these documentaries and podcasts and people talking about this.
Yeah, I mean,
make it all make a lot more sense.
It's going to make it hard for people to deny the phenomenon that there are these unidentified craft flying around. We don't know what they are. So very, very interesting stuff.
It is.
But the next bit of news we have is regarding cannabis news. There are some big things that happened the past week or two.
It's been crazy.
With marijuana legalization. Actually, New York, Virginia, and New Mexico all legalized recreational marijuana, which is huge. I mean, New York has got one of the largest populations in the entire country. And I think we're all, all kind of waiting to see what's the tipping point state-wise before the federal government just says, you know what, let's stop fucking around with this. Like,
go nationwide.
I mean, the majority of the population in this country now has access to recreational marijuana. It's being regulated. It's, it's going to help, with all the people that are incarcerated for marijuana, minor marijuana offenses that are going to be released because of this, have their records expunged. I mean, it's going to help the overall country drastically.
Yes, help so many people. I know actually that the average person doesn't even know that we have this endocannabinoid system, or it's cannabinoid. Yeah. Sorry, we struggle with that in our bodies, just as a regular system, just as you would have a cardiovascular system.
Right.
We have this built in, and we have this plant that grows on our planet. Everyone should have access to this. This should be, you should be able to grow it in your backyard, use it freely as much as you want.
And there's so many benefits to it. Yeah. I mean, there's so many benefits. So many studies that are, and that's the big thing with it is like, we all want more studies to be done. Obviously, we don't know everything about cannabis or what it could do for you, what types of ailments it can help with, but we do know, from a very basic level that it helps with a lot of different things.
Well, the endocannabinoid.
Cannabinoid.
Help me. Cannabinoids.
Jesus Christ.
Cannabinoid?
Let me try it again.
Yeah.
Cannabinoid, yeah.
Endocannabinoid.
Okay, try again. Well, the endocannabinoid system is connected to all of your other systems that regulate your sleep, your anxiety, all of that. Just the ways that it can help you, I mean, it's unmatched. It really is. And we need way more research on it and need to get it in the hands of more people who have pain, who are suffering.
Yeah.
It can help, oh my gosh, just endless things. So it needs to happen. We're just behind, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, and especially the opioid crisis, fentanyl, all these super dangerous drugs that people are as easier to get than it is to get quality cannabis in a lot of these places.
I've lost several family members to opioids. Like, they're still with us, but I've lost them. And thinking of how cannabis could have helped them if they had access to it, get off of opioids or harder stuff, it's like almost makes me want to cry thinking about it, because it's sad. It's just it's so avoidable. And it's truly one of the biggest conspiracies in this country that this was ever made illegal.
It is.
It's just sad.
And for a long time, I mean, a lot of political leaders have been fighting for cannabis legalization. I mean, Bernie Sanders just is the first one that comes to mind, who's since the beginning of time has said we need to federally legalize cannabis, and our current administration, President Biden and Harris, they're really not about the cannabis at all.
Not at all.
Joe Biden was one of the ones that, bought the whole narrative and helped pass the war on drugs, back in the day. And, Kamala Harris, she was a prosecutor prosecuting people for cannabis offenses. So they're really not, it doesn't sound like they're going to be the ones that really push this ahead. In fact, Chuck Schumer is
Chucky the Shoe coming through.
Chucky the Shoe.
He says that we're going to have to just do it without Biden, without his approval.
So I'm hoping now that New York is legalized, that, the Senate and the House are able to pass the legislation to just make this fairly legal.
Well, the House already did back in December.
They did. They did. So we're waiting on the Senate essentially to pass it.
We have a majority finally. So,
right.
Dems do. So we can at least, try and get this pushed through.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really going to, it's going to help a lot of things. It's going to help, our business, especially. To have it
exciting,
federally legal, it's going to make it, right now, if you don't know, marijuana is a Schedule I drug.
That's
so it's
fucking crazy.
On the same level as heroin, as being addictive and dangerous, is what it's considered. No, it's not.
Fucking crazy.
So this would be huge. It'd be huge to get this off of the, Schedule I drug list and off of the controlled substances list altogether.
About time.
And available for people that want to use it. It's not for everybody, or, it's personal preference. But the cool thing about cannabis, and I think so many people in non-legal states don't realize, is that there's so many ways to consume it. I think especially older folks, they grew up with this whole stereotype of what a stoner is. And it's just, people that, smoke the flower, and it's a smelly thing. But nowadays it's there's so many different ways to consume it that we go to the dispensaries all the time, and you get wide ranges of types of people in there, from elderly people to
moms pulling up in their vans after their kids in the back,
people in their work uniforms, like going and picking up after, and it's treated no different than alcohol or any other type of substance. So
it's going to be cool to see how this will change people's perspective of it, if the stigma will kind of go away once it's legalized, because there's just so much misinformation and judgment, stereotypes, like you said. But it's really an amazing, beautiful plant that everyone should have access to.
Yeah, and it's just going to make everything easier too, especially on the hemp CBD side. If this is federally legalized and taken off of the controlled substances list, is that we've also discovered, and this has kind of been the new craze, is Delta 8 THC. This has been like the big thing, and already, the DEA and some of the law enforcement agencies are calling it CBD on crack. Is literally how they're
CBD on crack.
Yeah, CBD on crack. Because
what does that even mean?
Well, it I know, and that to the average person, that sounds scary.
So ridiculous.
I don't even know why you would say it's CBD on crack, because it's not at all.
But it's synthetic.
It's synthesized, so it's just the atomic structures tweaked. It is tweaked like in a lab type environment, and I think that's why they're associating with crack. But it's derived. You can derive Delta 8 from hemp. It's hemp derived. Right. So, but the thing about it is because it's still THC, even though it's just got one molecule difference, it is going to get looped in with Delta 9, which is, a controlled substance, and it's going to be banned. Right now it's legal because right now there's this gray area that it falls under the Farm Bill, and because it's derived from hemp, therefore it's a hemp product, and it can't be, considered marijuana, so it's not an illegal substance. But the DEA already has a ruling against that, and they're trying to get basically the government to enforce that so that they can go and shut down all of the companies that have now started selling Delta 8 THC products. And if you're not familiar with Delta 8 THC, it's basically, people say it's a milder version of Delta 9 THC, which is in marijuana. I've taken Delta 8 before, and it was definitely just like a chiller version of it. It's not quite as potent and psychoactive. Yeah, I've tried a Delta 8 distillate cartridge before, and it definitely still gets you high, but it's definitely like a low key version of it. So I don't really understand how it equates to CBD on crack, because that's very, very off. So it'll be interesting. Lots of things happening with the cannabis world as well, and we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens with all of it. With that being said, let's go on and get into some of our other Pondercast topics for today. Before we do, we want to take a quick ad break, and we'll be right back. When it comes to paying off debt, it can feel like you're fighting this uphill battle. There's high interest rates, resulting in minimum monthly payments, which keeps you in this endless cycle of debt. But guess what? Upstart is here to help and help you get ahead. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan all online. Whether it's paying off those high interest credit cards, consolidating just high interest debt, or funding personal expenses. Over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get a simple fixed monthly payment. And unlike other lenders, Upstart looks at more than just your credit score, which is super nice, like your income and your employment history. This means that they can offer smarter rates with trusted partners. With their 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate up front for loans between $1,000 to $50,000. And best of all, you can receive the funds as fast as one business day after accepting your loan. When I got out of college 5-7 years ago, definitely had some credit card debt. We were trying to get married, and a personal loan really can help you get out of that credit card debt by consolidating all of those different payments into one. And Upstart is a great place to help you secure a personal loan. So find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/milehigher. That's upstart.com/milehigher, and make sure you use that link to let them know that we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Again, that's upstart.com/milehigher.
Did you know that every year, billions of pounds of food go to waste, often because it doesn't live up to the strict cosmetic standards of grocery stores? Doesn't that annoy you? And don't you wish there was a way to prevent all of that waste? Well, that's why you got to know about Imperfect Foods, because they are on a mission to reimagine grocery delivery for a kinder, less wasteful world. They deliver sustainable, affordable groceries, including produce, quality protein, eggs, dairy, and pantry staples, all straight to your door. Plus, they are always adding fun and tasty new discoveries for you to try each week. All you got to do to sign up is create your flexible and personalized grocery plan and then shop online each week to get affordable and sustainable groceries delivered right to your door. With Imperfect Foods, grocery shopping fits seamlessly into your life, and every week is a tasty adventure. So sign up with Imperfect Foods today to save time, save money, and save food from going to waste. And right now, Imperfect Foods is offering our listeners 20% off plus free shipping on your first order when you go to imperfectfoods.com and make sure to use promo code MILEHIGHER. Try Imperfect Foods now for a limited time and get 20% off plus free shipping on your first order. Just go to imperfectfoods.com and use promo code MILEHIGHER to sign up. That's 20% off plus free shipping at imperfectfoods.com. Offer code MILEHIGHER.
A few decades ago, private citizens used to be largely that, private. Well, what's changed? The internet's changed. Think about everything you've browsed, searched for, watched, or tweeted, and now imagine all of that data being crawled through, collected, and aggregated by third parties into a permanent public record. Your record. And having your private life exposed for others to see was once something only celebrities worried about. But in an era where everyone is online, everyone is a public figure. So in order to keep my data private when I go online, I turn to ExpressVPN. Did you know there are hundreds of data brokers out there whose sole business is to buy and sell your data? And the worst part is that they don't have to tell you who they're selling it to or get your consent. And one of these data points is your IP address. Data harvesters use your IP to uniquely identify you and your location. But with ExpressVPN, my connection gets rerouted through an encrypted server and my IP address is masked. Every time I turn ExpressVPN on, I'm given a random IP address shared by other ExpressVPN customers, which makes it much more difficult for third parties to identify me specifically and harvest my data. And the best part is how easy ExpressVPN is to use. No matter what device you're on, phone, laptop, or smart TV, all you got to do is tap one button to get protected. So if you're like me and you believe your data is your business, secure yourself with the number 1 rated VPN on the market. Visit expressvpn.com/milehigher and get 3 extra months for free. That's expressvpn.com/milehigher. Again, that's expressvpn.com/milehigher to learn more.
Okay, it is time to spill the tea. The Celestial Seasonings tea. I'm sure most of you guys have heard of Celestial Seasonings. If you're into tea, you've definitely heard of them. Oh, yeah.
Or seen it at the grocery store, at least, passing by the tea section.
Oh, yeah, dude. I grew up on Sleepy Time tea as a kid. Love that shit.
This is about the Sleepy Time tea.
Yeah, this is. So this brand has been in business making teas for decades, and it is the largest manufacturer of tea in America because they sell over 1 billion cups of tea per year.
Doesn't surprise me in the least bit.
Yeah, I know.
They have millions of different blends.
Millions. Sometimes it feels like that. We've always wanted to go up and see we haven't ever made it there.
Is there a factory here?
Yeah, there's a
in
factory
Fort
here.
Collins.
I've been there once.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, it was awesome.
What was it like?
It was really cool. You got to like walk through the whole factory. I remember the most being a giant room filled with peppermint leaves.
Oh,
and it was like where they started to make their peppermint tea. And it was literally a huge room just filled from top to bottom with peppermint. And it like you walk in and immediately your sinuses are like totally cleared out. They're like, if you have allergies or a cold, like this will fix you right up. Walking into that room, it smelled so good.
Because it really does. We have peppermint oil on our microphones, we do. Actually, because it kind of clears our sinuses, helps with nausea. It's good stuff.
But yeah, it was cool.
But some people believe that this company actually has a hidden agenda. And this is very interesting. I had never heard of this. So the founders of Celestial Seasonings have not been tied to a cult or cult activity, but the spiritual and religious practices that normally come with cults definitely have.
Yeah, this is super interesting.
The founders of Celestial Seasonings, Mo Siegel and John Hay, were followers of this New Age biblical text that's called the Urantia book.
Or Uranta.
Or Uranta.
It's kind of pronounced a couple different ways.
Yeah, I guess you take the I out. So Uranta.
Uranta.
So this book is very interesting. This text was created somewhere between 1924 and 1955, and it first appeared in Chicago. The Uranta book has details of philosophical, spiritual, and religious beliefs that discuss life's true meaning.
Yeah, it's really like a New Age Bible, but it infuses it with Eastern religious concepts and belief systems. Yeah, it's kind of taking everything as a whole and kind of giving you the one true path to follow in life and to okay,
it's like a little of everything. And that's what's interesting about the Bible, right, is so many stories appear in several different religious texts across the world.
This one specifically is like this one specifically about Jesus. Like Jesus is like kind of the center of this story. So it's really a New Age Bible.
And apparently they use science to try to support some of the claims here. And the text hints towards practices that resemble contact with unearthly life forms, aliens, stating that they are celestial beings.
Yeah, or also like spiritual beings too, not necessarily little green men from another planet, but...
Well, that's not what I mean by aliens, that's what comes up in mind, but yeah.
Yeah.
So it's being speculated that that's where they got the name Celestial Seasonings, from celestial beings. Very interesting, and I definitely will never look at this tea the same way again.
It's actually really cool.
It is. According to historical documentation, the Uranta book was conceived when William S. Sadler, a Chicago physician, met with a neighbor who claimed that her husband would fall into deep and abnormal sleep. And supposedly it was virtually impossible to wake this guy up. He was almost in a coma-like state. And then what's crazy is he would start having verbal communications with some type of unknown spiritual entity while he was unconscious.
It reminds me a lot of Edgar Cayce, because his Sleeping Prophet is kind of similar.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure most people will be pretty skeptical about this because it sounds, that's a very extraordinary claim here.
It is, but it's more common than you would think.
And what's interesting as well is this guy, William S. Sadler, normally is a very skeptical person when it comes to supernatural stuff. He's constantly arguing against the existence of the paranormal and mediums and things like that. And he believes this. So he believes this guy is really having these communications.
Right. So as the Uranta book grew over time, members known as the Contact Commission were the witnesses of situations similar to the one that Sadler encountered with his neighbor. And these members were reliant on individuals who had these experiences, as they had the capability to connect to the celestial beings that spoke the word of the book. So at its basic level of understanding, it's believed that celestial beings speak through sleeping individuals who are in comatose-like states.
That's honestly pretty creepy.
It is. So the fact that Celestial Seasonings contains the term celestial is due to the belief that there is a celestial being, but also that the herbs contained in the teas are somewhat attached to them as well. Which is very
specifically the sleepy time tea.
Yeah, specifically the sleepy time one.
That's crazy.
Because the first two teas to be mass produced for the company were Red Zinger and Sleepy Time.
Those are two of my faves. Red Zinger's some good shit. And, Sleepy Time tea, it has herbs in it that are supposed to give you a better night's sleep. However, Siegel has disputed that the tea has any actual tie to the book.
But it's not inspired by the book?
It seems inspired, right?
Yeah. Well, and they put like uplifting quotes
Yeah.
on each box.
I didn't
too.
even know that. I've never
Yeah.
noticed that.
Oh, really?
I
I've
don't pay
always
much
noticed
attention
that.
to detail. Really?
Oh yeah, I would like.
Never knew that.
Their backs and their boxes are like very. It doesn't surprise me that this is connected. They're very like kind of trippy in a way. I feel like they're little boxes of tea and
Wow.
like the designs that they have for the teas. I don't know. I'm going deep here.
Yeah.
But
For the only design I can think of is like the bear and his like jammies on the front of the Sleepy Time tea.
no, there's a lot of like weird kind of like out there looking like art things, and I've noticed that they always do have like little quotes on there and stuff.
Shit, I need to pay more attention to my tea. So, of course, there's no actual proof that the brand has anything to do with a cult, but some people still believe that it does. And it's definitely interesting to speculate. And it makes me want to go up to the factory. You need to like go investigate.
I would love to do that.
We'll make a little exposed video. Exposing the cult.
Yeah, this is
I
kind of
think-
where it gets complicated.
Yeah, I think it's really like because this book, some of the references in it refer to, you know, a new cult or for their followers to find a new cult in order to replace Christianity. I think it's like, you know, Christianity 2.0, but this is the version of it. So
Okay.
it's not that it's actually a cult. It's the idea that perhaps it, you know, there could be a cult related to this book that, you know, Siegler and the founders of Celestial Seasonings may or may not have had a part of. Obviously they deny having it. This has nothing to do with any of that, but it is interesting that it all comes back to this, you know, Urantha book basically. So kind of interesting.
It is.
So then there's also this part to this story about this guy named Tony, who I guess he runs this group that's based off of music called Cosmopop. It's like a type of music.
it up.
I don't really know a lot about it, to be honest, or really anything about it. But he runs a seemingly, quote, harmless cult of followers that devote their days to playing Cosmopop. But apparently there's a compound of where this takes place, and it's heavily guarded with electronic gate and surveillance cameras. And also it's pretty well documented by ex-members of this, quote, cult that there is physical, sexual, and mental abuse that occurs inside the gates of the compound. However, of course, Tony, the Cosmopop creator, is, you know, has no ties to Celestial Seasonings. So that doesn't necessarily mean that Celestial Seasonings is part of a cult just because this guy is.
We're just talking about the connection to the Urantha book.
Yeah.
Which this guy, Tony Delavan, actually calls himself Gabriel of Urantha. So which Gabriel is the name of an angel. So he dresses in all white, which is kind
Oh,
of
I
interesting.
see him.
So
Yeah.
he
I'm on the cosmopop.org.
He started something called the Global Community Communications Alliance, and he really uses the word of the Urantha book in it. Like he really bases his practices or beliefs, I guess, off of this book. So I think that's how he's kind of tied to Celestial Seasonings.
If you want to know more about it, about Cosmopop, there's like a history on their website, and it takes you through a timeline of how he started this in 1958.
Yeah, it's like a group of 100 members, and they believe that society is on the verge of collapse, which is just
So
like
how is
every
the-
other doomsday cult out there.
And this Cosmopop music is going to help us.
It's part of the teachings. It's part of their whole message.
They have like a band. It's band photo shoots. They go on tour. There's band rehearsals, concerts.
It's Talius Van and the Brighton Morning Star Band,
Whoa,
and Gabriel is the
that
The
is
lead guy.
Very
Also known
interesting.
as Tony.
yep.
Tony.
But yeah,
It really is like it's really a new age like hippie cult though. This guy, obviously, there's no direct
This
connection to
unicorn love.
Celestial, but interesting that the founders in this book all have ties, and it goes back to the book of Urantha.
Wow, this is really interesting stuff.
Yeah,
like I've always wondered what a weird name for tea. Celestial.
I have wondered that too. I always
Seasonings.
thought, does that have something to do with tea, celestial? Like,
Right.
what does it mean? Yeah, I don't know. That's very odd. I never.
He probably
thought there
did
could be
get
more to this.
He probably did get inspired from the book.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying
Maybe
that
he's like, I'll
Celestial
just
Seasonings
take
is a cult,
something-
but
Yeah, he's like, I'll put it into my business, my personal belief, have a little touch.
yeah. Well,
I
there's
don't know,
always
that's
people are
interesting
going
though.
to take a book like that and take it to the extreme, and you know, all of a sudden take it to, you know, the society's on verge of collapse. Here's our way out of it. Here's how we survive.
Oh, it's also called global change music / Cosmopop.
oh, interesting.
And it
Interesting
includes
stuff.
performing arts and poetry as well. It's not just like one type of music.
But pretty interesting that this is all kind of behind the whole Celestial Seasonings Tiburon, you know, that this is just like the background and some of the history associated with it. I mean, no one would ever think that, just, you know, buying it at the grocery store. So
That is so weird.
very, very interesting. Well, are you guys scared of dolls?
Yes, I really don't like dolls.
I believe dolls can be vessels for spirits as well.
You know, my sister went through a major phase of that where she thought all her dolls were like alive and talking to her.
What the fuck?
And my parents sent her to therapy, but
That's
the more
so
I think
scary.
about it, I'm like, maybe she was right.
Oh my God, that's fucking scary.
My sister
Hell
got
no.
a Pisces moon. Who knows? Who knows?
Then you probably wouldn't want to go to La Isla de las Muñeques,
Ooh, good
or the
job.
Island of the Dolls, which is located just a few miles south from the center of Mexico City. And this island is creepily filled with hundreds, possibly thousands of hanging, basically decomposing and decapitated dolls. And that, as legend has it, the first doll was hung when the island's only guy living on it found the corpse of a drowned girl and her doll. Definitely sounds like a haunting in the making right there.
And I'm very confused about this. I was trying to figure it out earlier, like how he would have found her with the doll still. It's not like she was holding it if she
Well, she was
washed up on
dead.
the shore. So it was like connected to her. She was like,
Well,
I don't know.
Maybe
Where
it was
else would the
tied to
doll
her.
come from if a little girl didn't bring it to the island?
But they washed up on the shore dead.
or maybe the dolls are
True.
a representation of the little girl herself. Maybe she didn't even have a doll. Who really knows, right? It's a legend. So this dude that was living on the island, apparently his name was Julian Santana Barrera, and he feared vengeance from the little girl's spirit. So he hung up her doll as sort of an offering to her. And then he became worried that the doll, or just that one doll, wouldn't satisfy the girl. So he continued to hang dolls and collect them in her memory. So it was very weird. Like, how many dolls happen to end up on this island? Like, how often does that happen that
Apparently
a doll
they
washes
up
up
more
on
often than
shore?
not, but
Maybe, but well, they're creepy looking.
so for decades, this guy was hanging dolls up all over the islands, which to me, I mean, I know that I've heard and seen that there's definitely paranormal activity on this island. Like, clearly, if you're bringing all these dolls there, one of them's bound to probably be carrying some, either something evil or something, just the spirit of other children.
It seems to be really common for spirits to attach to dolls specifically.
You know why that is?
Why is that?
Reason for that is because it looks very similar to a human person. A doll's got arms, legs, and a head just like a human.
True.
But it's also, if a child passes, it's usually the one object that child truly loved. So there's a love connection with the doll, and therefore it allows the spirit to transfer itself to the doll, because it's the closest thing that they have that not only resembles their physical body, but it's something that they love as well. So there's that connection there.
You could not pay me to spend a night on that island. That is so scary.
I can just only imagine hearing the things you would hear on this island, whispers and just hearing them kind of like knocking against each other in the wind, these like plastic dolls. It's basically like Annabelle on steroids, like the spending a night here.
That's so scary.
They all of a sudden start moving around on their own, or you see a doll and it ends up in a different location.
So it's been there for almost 70 years now, all these dolls.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's super famous and a huge tourist destination for people. People love to visit it.
And this guy Barrera died in 2001, and he had drowned in the same spot that he reported finding the dead girl and her doll nearly 50 years before. So maybe he was right on the money with the whole vengeance thing and
Yeah, he absolutely
this
could have been.
haunted doll, the original one.
Yeah, I don't think it's out of the question that there's something paranormal happening here, because I mean it really is a paranormal destination. I mean, it all comes back to the girl that was found dead and the doll, and then obviously with Barrera dying there as well, maybe his spirit lives on there too. Very creepy though, especially if you're afraid of dolls.
That's an interesting story. I had never heard of that before.
Before we get into the Oregon Vortex, very, very interesting gravitational anomaly happening here. We're going to take another sponsor break and we'll be right back.
Our next sponsor is Care Of. And I am a big fan of Care Of because it makes taking vitamins super easy, because they come in these little personalized packs that you just tear open and you take everything inside. You don't have to think much about it or put it into those little pill organizers. So annoying. All of Care of's products are formulated with good-for-you, clean ingredients that are backed by science. And Care of is super transparent about the research and sourcing behind each one of their products. Studies show that it can take about 30 days for you to see benefits from a new supplement routine, so consistency is key. Care of makes it easy with personalized subscription delivery straight to your door each month, contact-free, of course, so you never have to worry about running out. They have an online quiz that asks you questions about your diet, lifestyle, and health concerns to help you address specific wellness goals. The little packs that the vitamins come in are compostable, which is really cool because that helps you be more sustainable every day by switching from bulky bottles to their compostable vitamin packs. And Care of is offering our listeners 50% off your first Care of order, and that's an awesome deal, so take advantage of it. Just go to takecareof.com and enter promo code MileHigher50. That will get you 50% off your first Care of order. Again, that's takecareof.com, enter code MileHigher50. And that will get you 50% off your first Care of order. Again, that's takecareof.com, enter promo code MileHigher50.
We all want to have nice hair, right? We all want to have thick, luscious, beautiful hair. And that's something that I've been striving for, is just getting my hair to be more soft, more moisturized. And that's when Function of Beauty really changed the game for me. Function of Beauty is the world's leader in customized beauty, offering precise formulations for your hair specific needs. A lot of people think that Function of Beauty is just for women. No, it's for everybody. I actually use Function of Beauty shampoo and conditioner I customize through their quiz every single day. What's great about the quiz is it asks you to tell them a little bit about your hair type, your hair goals, such as do you want to lengthen, volumize, or oil control. And because your hair changes with the season, you can change your hair goals before every shipment, which is awesome. Then you get to choose your color and fragrance, or you can go fragrance and dye free. I ended up choosing green, this like kind of aqua green color, and eucalyptus for my scent, and I absolutely love it. Then Function's team determines a perfect blend of ingredients, bottles your formula, and delivers it right to you. And every ingredient Function of Beauty uses is vegan and cruelty-free, and they never use sulfates or parabens. And you can even go completely silicone-free if you want. There are over 54 trillion possible formulations, and Function of Beauty has over 50,000 real 5-star reviews. And Function of Beauty offers completely personalized formulas for body and skincare as well, so you can customize your beauty routine from hair to toe. Never buy off the shelf just to be disappointed ever again. Go to functionbeauty.com/milehigher to take your quiz and save 20% off your first order. That applies to their full range of customized hair, skin, and body products. Again, that's functionbeauty.com/milehigher to let them know we sent you and get 20% off your order. Again, that's functionbeauty.com/milehigher.
Okay, so this is really, really interesting. If you live in Oregon, you probably know about this, or if you've ever visited the Oregon Vortex. It's a roadside attraction that opened to tourists in 1930, located on Sardine Creek in Gold Hill, Oregon. And it consists of a number of gravity optical illusions that some people claim are a result of paranormal properties in this area. And this shit will blow your mind. We're going to show you a video clip of this. Something crazy is happening here, clearly.
Yeah, there's definitely something unexplained.
So they call it the House of Mystery. That's actually in the attraction itself, in the Vortex. And that's the big thing that everyone comes to see. So this is an older clip, but it really does show why this place is so special.
Two men are standing along the north-south magnetic axis. The ground is level. We've checked to make sure there was no slope. The man on the left in the blue jacket appears to be taller. But note what happens when they trade places. Now, it's the other way around.
One theory is the increase of mass, decrease of mass. You literally, molecularly change in structure.
No matter how many times the experiment is repeated, the person who moves to the left, to the southern part of the magnetic axis, appears to grow, while the person who moves to the right, the north, seems to shrink. Terry says the phenomenon may be the result of an invisible field of energy that actually causes light to curve.
As light comes into the vortex, into the anomaly, something there makes those photons bend, creating the objects in the north direction to appear smaller.
The vortex covers roughly 3/4 of an acre. In one part of the circle sits the House of Mystery, an old mining office that slid down the hill around the turn of the century. The opposite corner of the building looks like it's just 3 or 4 feet higher than the near corner. In reality, it's 10 feet higher. another illusion caused by the vortex. Inside this house, brooms stand upright, and balls seem to roll uphill. But you'll have to take our word for it, since we weren't allowed to bring our camera inside, and thus rob the House of Mystery of its mystery.
How there's no phenomenon about the house whatsoever. It just happens to be crooked and sitting in the middle of the Oregon Vortex, creating the illusion to the phenomenon and then the phenomenon to the illusion.
The effects produced by the vortex are so confounding, a Scottish physicist named John Lister devoted 40 years of his life trying to unravel its secrets. Lister conducted more than 14,000 experiments here at the vortex. He even corresponded with Einstein. But what he uncovered, no one will ever know. He burned all his papers before he died, saying, "The world isn't yet ready for what goes on here."
That's so insane.
The guy that studied this for 1,400 experiments burned his
shit.
papers and said the world's not ready for. That's wild. I mean, a physicist that did all these experiments literally burned all of his work before he died because he thought people weren't ready for the truth about the Oregon Vortex.
Wow. That's unbelievable. That really is.
And this is what's interesting about this anomaly is this is a recurring thing. There's a lot of places across the country and the world where there's this seemingly gravitational. So it's like a gravitational optical illusion because of the magnetic forces. It's like he said, bending the photon. So when you're closer to the vortex, it's actually bending what you're seeing is becoming an optical illusion. We don't know what's causing that.
Clearly it's deeper than that if he burned all his shit. And like, that's so insane. And it's said that what causes this is a spherical force that is paranormal and is half above ground and half below.
Which we don't even know what that is exactly. It's an energy. It's a ball of energy, essentially.
It's so strange.
A toroidal energy complex that's spinning, like almost like a whirlpool that's like bending space and time all in this area.
A whirlpool of magnetic current that is constantly being emitted and causes our reality to be distorted.
Yeah.
That's really complicated for my little brain to understand.
And again, this House of Mystery is a mining shack. This is, like I think a lot of people think at first glance that this is something they just built there that's man-made, well, it is man-made, but this structure they built for this tourist attraction. But in actuality, it's been there a very long time. It just was a mining shack that slid down the hill. And now it's in this vortex and it allows for bizarre anomalies to occur. Actually, we have another clip that will overlay of balls rolling uphill, the broom standing on its own. Like the broom will stand there for long periods of time before it, like just undisturbed, will just stand straight up inside of this House of Mystery.
People try to do that all over the place too.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work.
No, but in the vortex, it does.
That's so weird. So Native Americans have been calling this land the Forbidden Lands for a long time. And anytime someone would try to ride their horses through it, the horses would stop right at the border of it, turn the other direction, and refuse to enter the vortex. So animals obviously have that sense. Mm-hmm. They know when something's different. They feel it, They
definitely have like a, sixth sense.
Yeah. I really think they do. They
can see more, the paranormal than we can, I feel like.
Some people theorize that there could be large magnets below the ground that causes this, and others believe that this area is a portal to other dimensions, including hell. That's one of the theories. Very interesting. And people who have been there have reported that their compasses don't work properly, which would support the whole magnetic forces theory. Very interesting. But also people claim that there are areas in the vortex that have extreme cold spots. So that kind of makes you think paranormal. And they also report floating lights that fly through the trees at night, and even extreme bursts of wind that seem to just come out of nowhere. And people say whenever they take photos, there are orbs and beams of light in the photos. People also say they can physically feel the sensation of being dragged down towards the earth when they're there. And some people who experience chronic pain say that it has healed them, which is very interesting. There's other places that are known as vortexes that I've heard other people with chronic pain have gone to, and they feel better.
Yeah. I mean, it's just something to note are in Montana, Pennsylvania, Santa Cruz, California, even Skinwalker Ranch has this type of situation over there too that's been measured, that there's some type of strong magnetic pull or force underneath the ground that they've never actually dug into that is responsible for a lot of the paranormal activity there. So it's interesting that here in the Oregon Vortex, there's a lot of the same things happening. With the orbs, the unidentified lights at night. I mean, that's all very common in these other locations that are known as vortexes or energy vortexes.
We have got to go to this place.
Yeah, I know. I was like, this is super cool.
I want to see if my pain is better there.
I know, it'd be really interesting. Well, let's do a trip to Oregon soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then let's go back to Florida because we need to go check out the Coral Castle.
Oh, yeah. This is very cool.
Down near Homestead, Florida, which is just south of Miami, right?
Yep. How far was it? We drove out there one time. We were close to the Coral Castle.
Yeah, it's not that far.
Well, traffic in Miami is so bad now. Took quite a while, but...
So it's called the Coral Castle, but it's really not a castle or made of coral. So I mean,
yeah.
Clearly it was named this to, be a tourist attraction. So people come and visit it.
Coral Castle.
But it's actually a really amazing structure. It's made of more than 1,000 tons of sedimentary rock, a type of limestone, actually. And it was mined and sculpted into a variety of shapes, including slab walls, tables, chairs, a crescent moon. There's a water fountain and a sundial.
So pretty.
It was actually originally called Rockgate Park. And according to the website, Coral Castle has baffled scientists, engineers, scholars since its opening in 1923. Because it was created by just one man working alone for 28 years up until he died in 1951. And he was a Latvian immigrant named Edward Liedskalnin, who was just 5 feet tall and 100 pounds, yet he built this whole structure made out of solid rock.
And it sounds like he did it out of heartbreak, too. The legend has it that he was inspired to build this structure after being abandoned by his 16-year-old sweetheart. Now, it's less creepy back in the day, maybe, but she broke his heart on their wedding day. And so he decided to build this fucking huge castle to prove to her that he could do something amazing with his life and just make something despite being in poverty and having a poor education. So maybe it was just hard love and dedication or hard work and dedication. Hard love. True love, hard work, and dedication.
It's basically like walls with one structure on it. And it's kind of been made into like garden grounds, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
It's very pretty though. But there's been a lot of stories and theories over the years about Edward and how he built this castle all by himself. And some say he had some sort of psychic powers and he actually levitated these limestone blocks on his own, or that even he sang to them in order to get them to move. Others suggest that Edward had special knowledge of magnetism and these earth energies that we're just talking about, the Oregon Vortex.
Yeah.
So perhaps he tapped into this and maybe there's some type of vortex in this location that, he used to actually help him build this structure. What's also crazy though is that not only did he work alone, but the tools he used were just basic picks, winches, ropes, and pulleys. So, and he did all this by himself.
Yeah.
And that's what's hard to believe is that a 5 foot, 100-pound guy could lift all these, even with pulleys and winches and everything else. I mean, it'd still be extremely difficult to do all this on your own.
Super heavy, like the blocks alone.
Well, granted, it was limestone. Limestone's really porous, so it wasn't as heavy as maybe it looks, but it still was 1,000 tons of rock.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a lot to move around, just period. Like, and with seemingly primitive tools like he was using.
These tools. So if you visited the Coral Castle before the 1940s, it says on the website that you would be greeted directly by Edward. He would come out and have you give him 10 cents for admission and introduce you to his fantasy world. Then you get to walk around the whole stone garden. And he would explain the significance of each piece. He was like super into it. His whole life was dedicated to that.
I mean, it really seems like it's like this art installation. Like he's really a sculptor, like a...
Well, yeah.
A part of me wonders though if there's like something spiritual to him that he like feels this connection, like this specific like area or like this specific formations that he built.
And here's this on the website, guys. Ed says, or used to say, that he knew the secrets used to build the ancient pyramids And if he could learn them, you can too.
Hell yeah.
So that's how he did it.
Okay, Ed
And that
will
makes a
help
lot of
us out.
sense.
Exactly.
And it wasn't like,
Wow.
and this is crazy too. None of this was like built there on site. He brought everything from 10 miles away. All of these stones from 10 miles
Similar
away.
to the pyramids.
Yeah, very similar to the pyramids. And it's so interesting that he would say that.
He didn't own a car either. He rode his bike everywhere.
Okay. All right. We're supposed to believe Ed on his bike.
So clearly he levitated all of these rocks from Florida City over
sang
to
them.
Homestead. And then they flew themselves over here. I mean, I don't know how.
Took him 28 years.
That's the mystery, is like, how did this one guy do all this? Because it's big. I mean, it's a lot of stone that is over there.
So maybe he was just trying to get this girl. Like maybe that really was the inspiration from it. Like lure her with the castle. Or maybe once he figured out these ancient techniques.
Well, he did write a number of different pamphlets, actually. And one of them is called Magnetic Current.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what it is. He's illustrating these ancient sciences that defy gravity.
He's literally using vortexes of energy in order to use that force to his advantage to move heavy stone.
Dude, now I want to go there. I can't believe we didn't stop there. I remember seeing it on Google Maps when we were driving by there, and we didn't go over there.
Yeah.
I didn't know about Ed.
And he would do this shit at night by lantern.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, this guy was wild, man.
Why would he do it at night too? Maybe so people wouldn't see him doing some fucking supernatural stuff.
Maybe he was connecting with like star systems or something, or constellations, and he needed the night sky.
He's a star seed.
Each wall is 8 feet tall, 4 feet wide, 3 feet thick, and weighs more than 5.8 tons.
Wow. We got to go see this.
It's wild. I mean, for one guy to do this,
Yeah.
clearly he knows how the pyramids were built.
Okay, so post-pandemic, we need to go to Oregon. We need to go to this castle in Homestead, Florida. We've got quite a list building already. There's a few other places too I want to check out.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
I want to go down to the Uintah.
We still haven't been to
Basin.
Area 51 even.
Yeah, but
Or
there's
down in that
nothing
area. What
are
over
we
at
gonna
Area
do?
51.
That's true.
They're going to, you want to get chased down by
It's
the
like
camo
just
dudes?
a tourist attraction. Well,
no.
clearly we're not going to Area 51, but I meant like
The area.
Go to the-
go to the
yeah, go
area
to-
of
yeah.
Area 51,
right,
which is just desert.
the area.
But it's wild that there's just so many places all across the world too. I mean, we just covered a few things here in the United States, but
Yeah.
across the world, there's all sorts of different places. There's pyramids in China that are not even talked about that we've got to dive into one day. I mean, the whole pyramid thing too, going back to the first thing we talked about today with the UFO shaped pyramid. I mean, it's just interesting that there's so many different pyramid sites all over the world. Everything seems to be connected, don't you think?
Yes.
A lot of these structures are connected in some way, and to see this, like, some type of magnetic force that could be utilized to do some of these things.
I wish he carved into the walls of the castle like how he did it. That would have been helpful.
I know. I wish
Bring us
that
all to the
physicist
next
wouldn't have burned his
level.
papers
Yeah, I
about
was
the
gonna-
Oregon Vortex.
Yeah. What on earth? These things always happen.
People aren't ready
Secrets
to
just
know
get
about the
buried.
vortex. I'm telling you, this
very
shit's real, though. This shit is real. It is scientifically been proven that these anomalies exist. We just don't understand them. So scientists like to kind of ignore it and play it off like, oh, well, we don't know.
We know everything, right?
Yeah. But clearly there's things happening that we just don't fully understand yet. There probably is portals to other dimensions. There probably is these energetic vortexes where it actually does alter our, molecular state of our bodies and, change the mass of things. Like, it's just wild.
Well, if you've been to either of those places, let us know in the comments what you experienced.
Yeah,
I'm
please
really
do.
curious to know.
I'm sure some of you have. So
Or Doll Island, even.
Yeah,
Oh,
Doll.
You've ever been
yeah.
to Doll
That's
Island?
the other
Yes.
place, but I
Yeah.
will not be going there.
Let's do it.
No
That'll be
way.
the other stop.
No fucking way.
All right, I'll go by myself then.
You're always going to do all these adventures by yourself. I'm too scared
Stay
to
the
even let
night.
you go.
Why?
Because what if you get haunted and you come back and ruin my
You're
life?
always, that's not how it works. You're always worried about something attaching to me and like me bringing it home. Like it's like that my buddy that
That happens, dude. What are you talking about?
it happens if you ask it to happen. It's very rare that an entity's just
okay.
you act like a monkey's gonna jump on my back and just hang on and like come home with me. That's like,
That's how sometimes it works with demons. Yeah.
What? Kendall's an expert all of a
to what
sudden.
I've heard. I'm scared
Kendall,
from
the
what I've seen.
demonologist.
Yeah,
now.
okay.
I don't know that much about it, but
There's ways to protect yourself.
Okay, well, I've heard things can attach itself to your spirit.
Okay, let's try it out. Let's see what happens.
But that is going to be it for our Pondercast today. If you guys like this episode, be sure to give it a thumbs up and let us know if you want to see more Pondercasts in the future. Also, you can tweet us topics for Pondercasts in the future as well. Just use hashtag Pondercast or hashtag Higher News if you want to see it in our...
Yeah, I'd like to do another
segments.
one of these where we cover stuff from around the world too.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to kind of look into those because oftentimes the good sources are not in English. Or they're just kind of, the search engines bury them. So if you guys are, in some place across the world where there's similar types of attractions or landmarks or, just paranormal hotspots, we definitely want to know because I'd love to dive into some more international places in the future.
I would too.
But we'll go ahead and wrap up today's episode there. Make sure you guys are subscribed to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and follow us on Spotify. We really appreciate it. Also, ratings and reviews also help as well.
Yes. Thank you to everyone who has left us a review.
But as always, keep taking your mind
A mile higher.
We'll see you next time.